Hi friends, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. This is Megan here over at Mythical Megan. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen some teasers for a readathon I have coming out, and I apologize in advance for the very late notice here on YouTube, but I am hosting a readathon called the Bonewood Trial Readathon. This is based on the Bonewood trial in the duology House of the Dead by Nikki Paparetto, starting with Bonesmith and ending with Ghostsmith. Ghostsmith came out earlier this year, so I hope you all have your copy so far, but I wanted to host a readathon in honor of the series. And let me read really quickly the quote from Bonesmith describing the Bonewood trial. Each Valkyr and Rapier pair must pass safely through the Bonewood, reaping 3 ghosts along the way. They have until dawn. So instead of until dawn, you have until October 31st. The readathon officially kicks off on Tuesday, October 1st, and will go until the 31st. So you have a month-long readathon coming up. I'm very excited about it. And you can register for the readathon down below in the Google form provided. I ask that you please do so, especially if you are planning to try to compete for the prize, which I will discuss later. But I just want everyone's contact information, aka their email, and then like a username to keep track of points so that I can award the prize appropriately. But the Bonewood Trial Readathon is fairly simple. There are several prompts that you can choose from. First, you will choose between whether you want to be a Rapier or Valkyr. Then you will choose the type of weapon you want to utilize in the trial. You will choose your path through the Bonewood, and then you will reap your revenants or your ghosts as you go through, and each level is worth so many points. So kicking it off with our prompts, these are the prompts that are worth 10 points each. So first up, we have choosing between being a Rapier or Valkyr, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing these. I did not listen to the audiobook, so I don't know the pronunciation, but there's a Y in there, so I don't know if it's Reaper or Rapier. I'm going with Rapier, could be wrong. But first up, a Rapier is the type of person who severs the ghost from their earthly remains or their bones to help them pass on. So if you are choosing to be a Rapier, your prompt is to read a book that is not set on Earth or has been severed from Earth. This could be a sci-fi or a fantasy set in a fantastical world, or a world that is not Earth, whatever you find that is not an Earth setting. Next, for the Valkyr, they are the ones protecting the Rapiers. They are defending from the undead. So the prompt is to read a book with a cover that you would defend, aka a book that you would read specifically for the cover or a cover by. So just a cover you really like. That is the one for Valkyr. And whether you are a Rapier or Valkyr, that is 10 points upon completion of the prompt. Next up is to pick the weapon you will use during your trial. First weapon of choice, there's 5. The first one is a sword, and swords are a very classic weapon, very traditional. So for this, you have to read a classic. And mind you, you only have to pick one of the 5 weapons. The second weapon is a blade. It's very flashy, very intriguing. So the prompt for that is to read a fantasy or a romance, or even a romantasy if you want to mix the two, because those are the intriguing genres, at least to me. The third weapon of choice could be a scythe. And for this, the prompt is a sci-fi. I chose this specifically for the sci-fi series called Scythe. That is why I associated a scythe with sci-fi. But if you choose to use a scythe as your weapon, the prompt is sci-fi. The fourth weapon of choice is a broad axe, and this is a weapon that was used in earlier times, not as common nowadays, and that is to read a historical prompt. This could be a historical fiction or any sort of historical nonfiction as well. Either of those apply. If you read like historical nonfiction book about like the Titanic or the Civil War or a deceased person's memoir or something along those lines, something from the past, that also works. And the final and fifth weapon of choice is a mace. These are the balls with like the spikes on them, very scary looking, at least to me. So the prompt is a horror or suspense or mystery sort of book. And those are the 5 weapons. Again, you only need to choose one, and that is worth 10 points. You will only get 10 points whether you read more than one or not. You can only get up to 10 points for the Rapier versus Valkyr, the weapon, and the path prompts. Speaking of the path prompt, our final 10-point decision you will make, you can choose to either go on a clear path through the Bonewood, which is to read any book of your choice because you are on a clear path, you know what you want, you know where you're going, so it is just any book of your choice. And then if you are choosing to go through the spine, spice things up, you don't know what you're going to expect, you need to randomize your TBR. However you choose to do that, whether you pull a couple of books off the shelf and have your cat pick, or list your physical TBR and do a random number generator, however you want to randomize your TBR, that is how you will do it. So those are our 10-point prompts. Again, I will have graphics listed down below for you to scroll through and see all the prompts, but those are the 10-point prompts. Moving on to the ghosts. The ghost points are awarded based on the level of ghost, and the level of ghost is awarded based on how many pages in the book. So for example, a level 1 ghost, or one that is a vapor without shape or form, because it is like the lowest level ghost, you have to read a book between 0 pages, well, 1 page and 100 pages. A level 2 would be 101 to 200 pages. Level 3 would be 201 to 300 pages. Level 4 would be 301 to 400 pages, and anything 401 pages plus is a level 5 or a revenant with bones attached to the ghost, so the scariest level of ghost. So as you can see, like the more pages you read, the higher level of ghost, and you need to do at least 3 different ghosts to complete the trial. A level 1 ghost will be worth 10 points, a level 2 20, 3 30, 4 40, and 5 50, and upon completion of reaping 3 ghosts, you will complete the trial and be awarded an additional 50 points towards your total score. So everything is very point-based. There is a prize at the end for the reader with the most points. Again, I will get to the prize in a bit here, but I just wanted to get through the prompts. Some additional points you can receive along the way. If you finish a book that is a Nikki Paparetto book, so that could be Bonesmith, Ghostsmith, the Crown of Feathers trilogy, which includes Crown of Feathers, Heart of Flames, or Wing of Shadows, and then her middle grade, brand new middle grade, is also coming out at the very beginning of October. That is The Last Hope School for Magical Delinquents. If you complete any book by her throughout the readathon, you will receive an additional 20 points per book by her. I did want to mention these books are not double up worthy, so if you read a book for your weapon, you cannot also apply that to a ghost later on. They are separate points. At the very least, you must read the 3 books for the ghosts to reap the ghost. You don't have to be a reaper and choose a weapon and choose your path. Those are just additional points, but you do have to complete at least 3 books to complete the readathon. You can also win additional points by participating and finishing the read along with me, which is of Ghostsmith, the sequel, which is the 2nd book and the final book of the duology of the series that this readathon is based on. So lots of fun additional points here. Again, all these graphics and prompts and everything will be listed down below in the description. That way, if you didn't really understand anything from like this audio description, you have the graphics to go off of. And then to like complete the prompt, you must fill out the form down below, the point tracker form. That way I can keep track of your points on the back end. And then the final thing to share with you about this readathon is the prize. So my friend Mare owns the Lore and Whimsy shop, which is a bunch of different bookish apparel, and if you are the person with the most points completed, you will win a prize pack from her website, specifically from the House of Dead collection. There's t-shirts, there's sweatshirts, there's bookmarks, there's stickers, all sorts of things. So you will win a prize pack. But with all that being said, that is the Bonewood Trial Readathon. Participate and hashtag Bonewood Trial Readathon on anything associated that you may post. And then last but not least, I'd like to share my TBR for the readathon. I was going to do this as a separate video, but unfortunately I just ran out of time to get this video up, so we're just going to tack it on to the end here. So personally for me, I am going for the Rapier. I feel like I'm definitely more of the like what's the word, not protective but like healing soul and helpful soul, as opposed to the warrior. So I feel like I'm more of a Rapier than a Valkyr, and that means I need to read a book that is not set on Earth. I'm going to be rereading Six of Crows. This is I've been rereading the Grishaverse, so I'm back up to Six of Crows, and that will be my non-Earth setting. For my weapon, I will be using a scythe. I think that is such a cool weapon, and for that you have to read a sci-fi again, so I will be reading Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. This is also a reread for me, but I'm reading through the entire Star Wars timeline, and I've reread, so I need to reread this one to move on to the next part. And then I needed to randomize my TBR because I will be going through the spine just to spice things up a bit, and I personally have a list of my full physical TBR. I think I have 600, or like very close to 600. I think it's 598 books on my physical TBR. So I did a random number generator 1 through 598, and it landed on the Honey Don't list by Christina Lauren. And then for my 3 ghosts that I'm going to try to defeat, I have up first a Court of Silver Flames. I believe this is almost 800 pages, so this is definitely a level 5. I also have for my book club Little Life by Hanya Yanagira, and this is also over 700 pages, so this is also definitely a level 5. And then I don't have it on me right now, but my therapist recommended that I read Eat, Pray, Love, and I looked up the page count on it, and I think it's around 300 something pages, so that will be a level 4, and that will be my 3rd ghost I'm defeating. I did want to mention you are able to defeat more than 3 ghosts to get additional points. You just have to complete 3 to complete the readathon. And then finally, I will be reading obviously Ghostsmith for the read along, and The Last Hope School for Magical Delinquents once I receive that. So that is my planned TBR for October and for this readathon. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you join. Let me know below if you are planning on joining, and I will keep you updated on the read along schedule. We'll be doing reading sprints and discussions and all that fun stuff, so stay tuned for a lot more information, but check the description below for all the graphics you may need on the prompts and whatnot, and I will check in with you in my next video. Bye friends!